Here we are, show one of the round table, number one official, Mark White. Thanks for joining me today. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm all right. I never thought I'd be here again, actually, because I remember the last time we had an interview, it was to announce your retirement. And then all of a sudden, here you are again. You just can't stay away, can you?
I can't stay away. And to be honest with you, I got it's good because I love it, but I had no intentions of coming back. But every week, every month, I, I, I sold the other page, but kept the name, right? And and as soon as I transferred everything over to Isaac, who has Digital Pool now, which is really my old page on Instagram. That same day, I started a new page, Level Two Billiards, and just put some of my photography up there, and with never really having any intentions of coming back. But I got messages every week, every month, come back, come back, come back. We're not, we miss you and stuff like that. And and some things had happened in my life recently, personal stuff that afforded me more time to do it. And so I thought, let me do it, but maybe let me do it a little bit less than I did before, or a different way than I did before, because before it was I'm posting every day, right? So, so I'm calling this project Level 2 Billiards 2.0. We had a little mini show last night. This is the first real show, right? With the real guests and everything. But we did a test run last night to make sure that my systems were good and stuff like that. We had some of the regulars on. I only wanted to do like 20 minutes, and it ended up being 73 minutes because there were so many questions and chit chat with people. I'm happy to be on, happy to be back, excited, so humbled by the amount of support I've gotten in the last few weeks. I reached out to previous sponsors. As you could see, Alberto at Fort Worth Billiards jumped right on to support me. And there's some other things in the works. Some things have to still be worked out. That's why they're back over here. That's why there's space there for some other things, right? And I'm happy to be back. I've been very busy the last 18 months. But we're going to change some things, and we'll get into it. But we're going to change some things about how Level 2 Billiards moves forward. I think the biggest difference will be that it's going to be more than just Instagram. We're going to be on YouTube and Facebook as well, so that we can reach more people. The biggest difference now, Mark, is strictly from a fan's point of view, right? So we're going to do a lot of fan-oriented stuff. I'm not going to interview just pros. I'm going to interview league players, tournament directors, pool room owners. The biggest, the voice of Predator, Mark White. So one thing I want to tell you that really has humbled me, right? I reached out to 24 professional pool players from every continent, right? I love talking to players overseas because the changes in culture, right? But to understand what happens in the Philippines or what happens in Singapore, or wherever it is, right? Thailand or wherever, Middle East. And I reached out to 24 pros, and 18 of them are locked in to do something with me in 2023. And that's great, because before, when I was a big page, I was getting 1 million views a week, right, on my page. Then I'm a small page. I'm nobody, Well, I'm me, but I don't have the following that I had before. I got 2,500 followers. So I expected many people to say no. Nah, whatever. I know it'll be big again. I'm all in. I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm all in. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. You have had, if you are unfamiliar with Mark White, let me just kind of give you his background. Mark White is the premier pool commentator. This guy has if you are a fan of pool, Mark has literally a real fantasy lifestyle in pool. He is a pool commentator. He is the voice of Predator for Predator events, but he also does other events beyond Predator, and we're going to get into that a little bit. He's a pool player based out of England, but he travels, would you say, 8, 9 months a year is what you did in 2022. I mean, every time you post a lot, you're always somewhere else. And is that about? Does that sound right? 8, 9 months a year you're traveling?
Yeah, well, this year I actually left my home on January the 8th this year, and apart from 12 days at home during a Europe visit to Austria, when we had the tournament in Austria, I literally got back about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I've been away a good 10 months. I also had a spell in Asia, in Vietnam and Thailand also, where I'm starting to promote some leagues for CSI, who are one of my sponsors. So I'm doing some good work with them. I really want to keep building the leagues and, you know, keep introducing new players, and we've got to think of the future of pool, right?
Right, for sure. And we all need to do our part, not just Matchroom or Predator or Kamui or QTech, or, you know, as pool players, we have to do our part, right? As fans, we have to do our part. It's a great point, and you are doing that. I mean, you are the best, if not the best, one of the best ambassadors for the game. You have extensive knowledge, but what I also like is, if you don't know, you're not afraid to ask. Oftentimes, when you are broadcasting a match, you have typically you're doing it with someone, and you have very good banter. I love when you and Tony, not Tony. Why did I think Tony?
Yeah, Tony Robles. Tony Robles, you're talking about.
I love when you and Tony are together. Tony, I've met Tony a few times. Super nice guy, right?
Yeah, fantastic.
There, he used to run what I think was the best league action in New York when he lived in New York. I think he's in Florida now, right? And he used to run the best league. And I've been to a couple of his league nights, and I've been to a couple of his tournaments. He ran the I forget that kid's name. Rob is going to laugh at me here, but he that big event. That pool player that died. He used to run that event, and good stuff. You know, real good stuff. 2022 been whirlwind for you. You had mentioned my last show 18 months ago. You did the last show. In that 18 months, you have really exploded with your popularity, with the events that you are a part of, that you're doing, commentating for. Of those events, either 2022 or 18 months or whatever, what event has really just blown you away that you have attended, that you were part of, that you attended, that just said, wow, this is just an amazing event? Where have you? Tell me about that.
Well, you know, it's hard to pick out just one, but thank you for all the nice things you've said. And one thing that I've really learned since I've been in that 18 months of going to the various events, you just mentioned about, you know, how we've all got to do our part. And one big thing I've noticed, Jay, is how many people actually have to come together at one of these events, you know, from the guys that come in and put the rigging up to the guys that come and hang the wires to hang all the lights on, and all the electricians and the lighting people and the sound people, and the guys that come in and build these tables up and get them in fantastic condition for the players, the stream guys that Kazoom that have come on board since this last year. I mean, they really are such a professional outfit, and the amount of equipment they bring with them on aeroplanes, and the whole scale of what needs to be done to get one of these events on, no matter how small the event is. You know, okay, the amount of tables might vary, but you still have to do all that other infrastructure that comes to make, when you see on the screen just a pool table, you know, the amount that goes on behind the scenes is just absolutely mind-blowing. One event, my first ever one I did in Europe, in Austria, in Jasmine Ocean and Albin Ocean's hometown of Klagenfurt. We had the Women's World 10 Ball there, and we also had the first of the World Team Championships there also. Just a off the scale production. Now we had 2 stream tables. All the other tables were available on Kazoo as well. Every single table has a camera. Every table has a scoreboard. It's just phenomenal. But the one that stands out for me this year just has to be Puerto Rico. I mean, it was, and this isn't just me saying this, you know, Darren Appleton very famously put a fantastic post on Facebook saying that in all his years of playing pool, it's by far the best venue he's ever played at. You know, the conditions were fabulous. The orientation of the hotel to the actual arena was fantastic. The arena itself was just absolutely off the scale. And, you know, that whole event, we had so much going on. We had the usual US Pro Billiards Series. We had the Medalla Light Men's Open, the Medalla Light Women's 10 Ball Open. We had the World 8 Ball Championships going on. And we also had 3 Junior World Championships going on as well. The under-19s, under-17s, and the Girls Junior World Championships. You know, we actually crowned 4 world champions at that event. Now, that is huge. You know, we had opening ceremonies, we had closing ceremonies, we had dancers, live bands, we had celebrities coming and playing pro celebrity games against the pros in this beautiful T-Mobile district that was right next door to our hotel. There was restaurants galore, there was bars, and it was such a light. It's actually the loudest country I've ever been to in my life. And I've been to Thailand. I'll tell you what, this is pure party Puerto Rico. It's just crazy island, and cannot wait to get back there next November. The World 8 Ball won't be there next year, but the world teams will move from Austria to there this year. So really,
what was the crowd situation like? What was there audience? Was there participation? Is pool big in Puerto Rico, or which is more a location? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. All Q Sports are huge there. You know, they love their Q Sports, and it was so well advertised and promoted. You know, we had famous rappers from there, we had actors from there, we had proper MC. We actually went live on Puerto Rico TV several times, and the crowds were absolutely huge. I don't know if you've seen any of the live games, but the crowds were just off the scale. Plus, don't forget as well, we had all the league championships going on there. We had the Caribbean League Championships at the same time, 50 bar box tables packed with 280 players, I think it was. First time. Next year, it's going to double. We're going to be on 2 floors next year at Puerto Rico. So we're going to have 100 tables.
How was your Spanish? Did you pick up a few words while you were there?
Adios.
Is that you go to so many countries, so many different countries, right? Is language an issue when you know, because I mean you can't know them all, right? I guess you could, but that would then if you knew all the languages, then you wouldn't be a pool commentator. But do you find it difficult when you're in a place that doesn't speak English?
Puerto Rico was really hard. I actually arrived about 3 weeks before the event started. I went there under my own steam because I had nowhere else to go. So I thought, right, let's go and see Puerto Rico. And it was the same as when I was in Mexico, basically. They speak almost zero English. And me being the typical, you know, dumb Englishman, we just expect the world to speak English, right? But it's not always like that. So if I could have any superpower I wanted, it would be that I could just, no matter where I went in the world, I could just speak the language.
Yeah, not only do you want us to speak English, you want us to speak your version of English. You don't even like the American. I'm not saying you don't, but I know that England people, British people think that Americans killed the English language. We probably did, you know. But I'm trying my hardest. I watched this show. I won't get into what it is, but they say that word "in it" every minute, and I want to get that word that you guys use, "in it." Do you use that word, "in it"?
Well, it's more of a slang used by young rappers, you know, like in it and all that, in it.
Does so why we're well, since you brought up the rapper thing, I know this guy, Two Piece Q. You know him?
Yeah, I think he's around here somewhere. Actually,
Is-
he's normally quite close to me.
Well, we'll bring him in a minute, but I bet you a guy like Two Piece Q probably says the word "in it." Um, I'm still waiting for my rap from him, but you know, maybe one day I'll be big enough again, and he'll maybe, you know, whatever. Maybe one day we can get a level 2 billiards a song done. I don't know.
You,
I want to bring up a friend of yours. I know she's a friend of yours because you and I and her have been together. We've had great conversations. But Kelly Fisher is. I'm going to guess. I mean, I don't know, but I'm going to guess she's probably your closest professional pool player friend, right? Is that fair to say? I think that's pretty fair to say, right?
yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. We did as I mentioned earlier, we did a quick live show last night on Instagram, and we didn't really have an agenda except for one thing. I did have one agenda item, and that was the money list for 2022. And impressively, Kelly is number 8 overall, which is crazy impressive, right? Now, she does play a lot of events, but being number 8 on the money list amongst the men, you know, I'm not saying she's number 8 female. I'm saying she's number 8 overall with the men as well, because women's tournaments tend to not pay as much, but Kelly tends to play in a lot of men's tournaments, right? Heavily involved in a lot of the tournaments that you're in. What is special from a pool playing point of view? And we'll get into her personality and stuff in a second, but why is she that much? Why does she stand out that much more from a money point of view than a typical female player? What in your guess, what would it be?
Well, it won't be a guess. It's an answer. It's the truth. It's just her ability to fight, to come back from impossible situations. Her father, very famously, was a boxer here when he was younger, and he always, you know, he taught Kelly. He taught her the mentality that you need to become a champion, and he always said to her that you win your fights in the gym. So you do it when you're training, and then when you go out to play these tournaments, you know, there's very few people, even in the men's game, that have her fighting ability. She's a champion. You know, you don't win numerous world titles in both snooker, billiards, pool, unless you've got it up here as well. You know, you can be. We've seen many great players who have never won a world championship, right? She's just got that. She's got that special quality which makes champions, and you can't teach it. You can't learn it. You can train as hard as you want, and you can, you know, let me bring up an American player, for example, Tyler Steyer, right? Great player, great technique. Watch him practicing, you'd think he's one of the best in the world. When he gets in those pressure situations, for some reason, he just can't. He just doesn't cope with it. He hasn't got that champion within him. I don't think. Can he learn it? I know he's reading a lot of books and he's working on the mental side of it. He religiously goes to the gym, he swims, he eats properly. Him and new wife Margaret Fefilova, they've got this strict regime. You know, I remember asking him if he'd come and do some commentary with me in Puerto Rico, and he said, I can't today. I've already got my schedule worked out, and we're going for a walk, we're going to the gym, we're going to eat at a restaurant, and we follow this pattern. So he's going about it the right way, hopefully, because he's a super nice guy. I really hope that he can get there. I really hope he can, because he's certainly got the game to do. He's got the determination and the dedication. Has he got it up there? I sincerely hope so. Can you learn it? I'm not sure you can, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's an interesting comparison, right? Because I've had brief conversations with Tyler before and longer conversations with Kelly. The one thing about Kelly, I want to talk about Tyler more, but the one thing about Kelly is you said all these things about her being a champion and a winner and having that mental prowess, right? The great thing about Kelly is when you talk to her away from the table, she's humble. She's very personable, highly educated, has great conversation. She's fun. You know, she's if you want it, if for those of you who've never met Kelly in person or maybe spoken to her on a personal level, she's the kind of person that you want to go play pool with, right? If you're going out for a night of pool, you want to go with Kelly because she's fun and great conversation and she's not
yeah.
And
I'd like to add to what I said about her being my best friend on the tour. She's everybody's best friend, particularly in the women's tour. Everyone hangs around Kelly. Everyone wants to be around Kelly because she's such a lovely, lovely, honest person. But I tell you, the difference between her is once she I mean, you see players coming up to her after she's just beat the crap out of them, right? And they're talking to her and they want to know more and they want to find out. And Kelly will help anyone as much as she can. But as soon as she gets on that table, she turns into an absolute beastess. She really does, quick fire killer. She is. She's super.
Which is common because one of my favorite female players is April Larson, and she's very similar in personality, as sweet as could be away from the table. But once she's got that cue in her hand and she's at the table, she'll rip your heart out. And I've said that to her before, and she doesn't like when I say that. But that's from my perspective as a fan. That's how she is. When you're playing her at pool, she doesn't care. She's gonna win, and she's gonna rip your heart out doing it. But once away from the table, as sweet as can be, and you have to respect a player like that, but B, it makes it very easy to cheer for a player like that. Let's switch gears. Let's go back to Tyler a second. We actually talked about Tyler briefly last night too. Tyler sometimes gets a bad rap, but his mechanics are unbelievable, right? You would agree with that, right? His mechanics, spot on. Like almost, if you were to read a book on how to play pool, it'd be his picture. I mean, he's got a crazy good break. His mechanics are great. What will it, in your opinion, what will it take for him to get to that next level? Is it just mental? Is that all he's missing? Is the mental part of the game?
I liken Tyler in many ways to Fedor Gorst. Fedor Gorst, in my opinion, is just the craziest guy on the planet at the moment. He's the best in the world. You can mention Van Bonen, you can mention the Filipinos, mention anybody you want. No better player on the planet at the moment, in my opinion, than Fedor Gorst. And it's no coincidence, why he's so good, because he's got perfect mechanics. He's as close to perfect. I've just written an article actually today, and I've said he's as close to perfection as I have ever seen in any Q sports. And his love of all the sport, all the disciplines right across Q sports. He loves them all. He's played them all. He's started in pyramid. He's played 9 ball, as we know, 10 ball. He's great at 14-1 straight pull. He's great at banks. He's great at one pocket. He can play all of them. And he's got this work ethic like no other. And he's super nice as well. If Tyler had his mentality, because they've both been coached by Johan, right? They've both got very similar strokes, very similar in many ways. But Tyler, and let's not forget, I think is he 27, is he, Tyler?
I don't know exactly, but that sounds about right.
I think he's about 27. Fedor's just 22. If you compare what Fedor has won by 22 and what Tyler's won. What's Tyler ever won? Actually, funnily enough, the only real trophy he's ever won was the Kremlin Cup.
Right, in Russia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Ironic, yeah.
Yeah, I think Federer actually was in that tournament, was still a junior, I think, when he played that. I remember watching that tournament. You know, something about Federer that I like, and I've been watching him since he was a junior. He was a lights out junior player too. He's a good guy. He's genuinely a good guy. He don't take no crap. You can't, you know, he's funny, but and if you're funny with him, he'll laugh or something like that. You know what I like about him? This is silly. This is silly, but it makes me like him more. If I send him a message, he'll answer me right away.
Yeah.
Like, you know that he's grinding somewhere. But I'll send him a message, and I talked to him the other day briefly. I said something to him, and essentially he told me I was wrong, which is okay. It was something dumb, but you know, a lot of players. Like, I'll give you a great example. Many people know that Skylar's my friend, right? Sometimes I message Skylar, he don't get back to me for 3-4 days, and he's my friend, right? Federer, I wouldn't say we're friendly towards each other, but we don't hang out, right? He'll get back to me right away. So really, that just says I have to have a word with Skylar and say, hey, be a good friend like Federer. Let's move on to the next subject.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Skylar very, very quickly, just for 1 minute, because he's one of my big favourites on the tour as well. He's always got time for me. He loves my commentary, which is really, really good. He's been trying to get me on Matchroom for some time. He thinks I should be on Matchroom, so he's super nice to me. I think he's different kettle of fish to Federer. He's got a baby, he's got a wife. You know, he's a busy guy, and he's not really a social media guy, to be honest. He's not really that kind of guy, you know. But he's super nice, and sometimes I'll have a long conversation with him. I had one with him the other night about, I think I wrote a rap for, or no, I didn't write it. Two Piece Q wrote it for. It was actually his partner's birthday, so Two Piece Q did a rap for her, which he was very thankful for, and messaged me, which I think is nice. So sometimes he does, but he's just not a social media person.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's actually going to do the next show number 2.
Sorry to butt in there. I'll say he's not a social media person. Give him a cue to raffle, and he's right on there straight away, isn't it?
With the baby climbing on his lap, with the baby. Yeah. Go see mommy. The other day was go see mommy, change your diaper. You know, yeah. And Ashley is such a sweet person. I'm very happy for him. When I used to hang out with him, he was very single, and she has made him a better person for sure, right? And baby and the baby does that too. Babies do that, right? Babies
little Dax.
Yeah, babies do that.
Actually, let me tell you a quick story about. It's very, very quick. I'm at the Derby City Classic this year, and we're all at the bar after the play's finished for the day, and I go up to Sky, and he's there with Billy and Ashley's there, and everyone's there, and I go up to him in front of everyone and say, "Oh, can I get a quick picture, please, Sky?" And he says, "Yeah, sure." And he puts his arm around me. I'll give him my phone and say, "No, I want one with Ashley." And he went, "You bastard."
All right, I'm going to I have an agenda that I'm following. I don't know if you see me keep looking down, but I'm gonna actually skip a couple numbers here. I'm looking at your shirt, and you have that Tome logo, and you can't find a person on the planet. Well, I know one person, but I won't say his name. But you can't find a person on the planet who's tried the chalk and said anything bad about it. What so Tome, I'm guessing. I mean, you have it on your shirt, so Tome is a sponsor.
Yeah.
Tells me that you're probably an expert on Tome product. Am I saying it right? Tome, is that? Am I pronouncing it right?
Town.
Okay.
Tom. Say what you want. Some people say Taum. It's a Finnish company, and the actual letters, stand for the owners' names. The O in it is Ottonen, which is Jonas Ottonen. The M in it is Mika Immonen, and I don't know the other two, but it's the initials of their. And Taum actually means tiger.
I didn't know that Mika was a part of that.
Mika Immonen is the M of Taum.
Mika is actually who taught me how to play pool, not person to person. Mika has probably the best pool training. I don't think they're even available anymore. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but he has a DVD set, videos, and before I knew anything about pool, I watched his videos and learned pool from him. And I like him a lot. I think he's a good guy. He's got a little aggressive, gets aggressive sometimes, and he has that chalk thing where if you're not allowed to leave the chalk on the table if you're shooting with him, he gets a little crazy with that. But what makes that Taum chalk so good? Why does everybody love it?
The main reason everyone loves it is because it alleviates kicks, skids, as you call them in America. You know, it doesn't leave marks on the cue ball. It doesn't leave marks on the table. It's a clean chalk. The V10, if you can see which way to go, that way. The V10 there, which is it was brought out predominantly for snooker players because of the color green. Not that matters, but it just goes with the color of the cloth. But also it's got extra grip on lighter balls as well, and snooker balls are actually lighter than pool balls. They're slightly smaller, but it has that extra super grip as well on the cue ball. But the other products, Pyro, the pink, the blue, the white, which were made predominantly for pool. Oh, by the way, just talking about our latest recruit for Taum chalk for the V10 is Judd Trump. He's just signed with Taum. So now we have Mark Selby. Mark Selby, of course, won at the weekend. He's just won the English Open. So we've got a few top pros using it now.
Big time, right? He plays lights out. Big name. Probably the biggest name currently, right? I'm not crazy when I say that. Yeah. I mean, well, Ronnie's a big name, but Judd is the now guy, right?
Yeah,
so that's a big get.
Well, Mark Selby's number one now again, so
that's and you got both of them.
Yeah.
Wow. So that has me think about Predator, which you are a Predator guy, right? Yeah. Sponsored Predator, work for Predator.
I wouldn't say I'm sponsored by them, but I commentate for them.
Right.
I love their products. I'm about to get a whole new set of cues. I've kind of given up playing because of, to be really good at it, you need to put lots of time in, and I haven't really got lots of time. I know I'm always around the tournaments, but I don't really get that much time to play, to be honest. So, and I want to be good at something if I do it. So I'd rather put all my efforts and my work into commentary. But I must say, I'm beginning to get my stroke, and I don't have cues at the moment. My other cues were in Thailand at this present time, and it would be kind of nice to have some cues. And they've just very kindly given me a nice present for Christmas: a BK Rush Break, a Bacote P3, but with a 3-1. 3-1-4-3.
That's absolutely beautiful. You chose that, or they chose it for you?
No, I chose it. I could have the choice of anything I want. Those that know me know I cannot stand carbon fiber. I know lots of people love it now, and it's the new thing on the block, but I don't like it.
Which shaft?
3-1-4-3.
Yeah, great shaft.
And also the air jump, the air rush.
Nice, nice. Speaking of you playing pool, only for you guys listening at home, you won't understand what this means, but Mark will understand what this means. I ran into Brandon the other day, and he said, "When's Mark coming back to town? I want to play more pool with him." If you remember Brandon, our pool buddy, when you for those of you that don't know Mark, I guess it's been 2 years or 1 year. 2 years.
No, not 2 years.
No, all right. Well, Mark stayed at my house for seemed like a lifetime. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. All he wanted to do was play pool, that's okay. There's not a lot of places where I live to play pool, but there is one place that they like to play for money. And Mark essentially drank beer for free for 2 weeks at this place. And it was Brandon who was paying for that beer. Coincidentally, Brandon owns the bar, so it really wasn't.
It didn't cost him much.
You'll be happy to know that there's a new place opening literally 1 block from here. So if you remember where we went to the coffee place that you didn't like the coffee place. So as close as that, they're putting a little 7-foot bar box table in there. Not the same thing that essentially is at that bar that we went to. And I spoke to the owner. I said, "Come on, when are you opening? When are you opening?" And he said, "I just ordered cues and balls and stuff like that." I said, "I have cues. Open for me. Open for me." And then he said, "Hey, well, can we do a pool league?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'll run the pool league. Yeah, we'll do a pool league."
Well, let's do a CSI league.
Actually, what I want to do is see. Yeah, that's a great idea. Put a BCA in there, or a USA Pool or something like that in there.
Yeah.
You know what I want to do? I don't know if this is possible because of I don't know. It's not open yet, but I thought, how cool would it be to do live shows from there with the pool table, with stuff going on, and I don't know, with the sound and stuff like that. And it's just one table. It's a fancy arcade. So they're gonna have food there, and they're gonna be. I think you have to be a member. It's pretty cool, and I live in a very, very small town. It's 3,000-4,000 people here.
I love Lambertsville. It's my favorite place, and I was lucky to see Halloween there. And you were right; it's the best place to be during Halloween. And those 2 lovely women we met, the 2 girls that were married, they're great. I still speak to them occasionally. Jay, we need to do this in 2 parts. So if we can just wrap up this first half now, and then we'll come back and we'll do part 2. How does that sound?
All right, and get 2Q ready. All right.
Okay.